slip in your palm and a hole in your chest. Black coffee on the felt, man, you look like a mess. 3-team parlay turned to dust in your hand. Now you stare at the chips like they made you this man. But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now. Hold on, hold on. Not tonight, not now. Hold on. Let me pull you out. That fella bites hard, but it don't get the crown.
What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you with Toadstool Sports for Sunday, July 5th. Hopefully everybody had a good July 4th, better than I was on the show yesterday. We were 1-3 on the show, not 1-4, 1-3. This run is still, 61%, which is still way higher than you should even expect to be. So, but I told you there was going to be some massive regression. Like I was running at 67% for a large run, and that just can't continue. The Texas play was a no play because Kumar Rocker did not start in the game, so they lost, but it was a no play because they went with Cal Quantrill last minute instead. So, as you know, probably when I don't specify, I am saying specify both starting pitchers must start. So that was a no play. Cincinnati was a loss. And Cincinnati, Hunter Green was bad at the beginning of the game. Cincinnati came back and took the lead, still like easily within the first 5 innings. And then he threw the lead back again. He was not good, dude. I don't know what else to tell you. I thought he was ready to go. That was not the case. It looked like, after that first inning, it looked like he was starting to settle down, and then they took the lead. It's like, okay, they're going to get this done. Nope. They did not. The only correct play was the first 5 under in White Sox Indians, which I believe that full game still went under as well. Burke was really good. A lot of strikeouts there. I think Messick was also good on the other side. We lost Tampa Bay, Houston under. I don't know what to tell you with that, man. Both starting pitchers were worse than I thought. Hunter Brown was awful. I don't know what happened in that game yesterday. It's just, I don't know how you could predict that, dude. I mean, those are two really good starters. You're going to tell me that Hunter Brown is going to have one of his worst starts of the last few years in that game? I wouldn't have thought so, obviously. And then France didn't get it done. I mean, we needed the team total. They won, but we needed the team total over. They did not really get going on offense until the second half. I mean, they should have won that game more easily than they did. Like, they did have a pretty big statistical edge in the game, but they didn't have enough scoring chances to really do what we needed them to do there. I guess they still could have. They had, I think they had 6 or 7 shots on goal, which I thought they would have more than that. Like, I thought there was going to be an offensive barrage in that game, and they scored their only goal fairly late in the game, but their offense really just didn't turn on until the second half. Like, the first half, there was just nothing going on. So, yeah, I thought they were going to come out faster in the first half, so I don't know what else to tell you. Move on to today. I'm trying to be a little bit selective here. I have 3 plays today, 2 baseball, 1 World Cup. I don't know how it's going to work out, but we'll see. Hopefully we can get at least 2-1 here and get a winning day out of this. Baseball, we have a play. I have a play in the first game here, Mets Atlanta. All the games are on Peacock today, so I don't know what the deal is here. It's an NBC Sunday special, I guess, and there are 2 night games this time because the night game is a Peacock event now, and of course the Red Sox have to be involved in a second straight Sunday night game, so that's really great. Although at least they did win on Monday in a horrible spot this week, so whatever. But all these games are on NBC, NBC Sports, and Peacock, so they're all watchable if you have Peacock. Best bet, first game. And you probably know what this is going to be. I was going back and forth as to whether I wanted to go full game or first five on this. I'm going to just go first five and isolate where I think the biggest edge is here. We're going to play the Mets on the money line in the first five. And I know nobody's going to like this one, but you know what I do. I do really contrarian stuff, and I like the starting pitching matchup here. I also like the spot because Atlanta's already won 2 games in the series. They won yesterday in a blowout, 14-3. Now, this is not the end of the series. These teams are actually playing again tomorrow, so it's a wraparound series to Monday. But you got to think the Mets are going to show up motivated after losing both games in the series to one of their divisional rivals here, plus getting absolutely destroyed yesterday. I think there's actually some value on the Mets. Nobody's going to want to play the Mets. I think really people are going to look at this number and think, like, how could the Mets possibly be like this small of an underdog here, basically, where you're not even getting plus money on the Mets here? Well, obviously part of it is the starting pitching, but the odds makers are also telling you there is not as much of a gap between these two teams as you might think based on their records. And of course, Atlanta, before this series, they still weren't playing well. So, I mean, I know the Mets weren't either, but we're going to go with this. I think the odds makers are telling you something. I mean, it looks way too easy to play the Braves here. Braves are public, 74% of the tickets on them, 81% of the cash on the Mets. So it looks like a huge pros versus Joes game here. This is going to be an early one. This is at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to exclude the bullpens. I think the Mets are at a disadvantage in the bullpen. Atlanta has the best bullpen in baseball, and they only used one guy yesterday. So I will avoid the bullpens, even though I do think the Mets bullpen is good as well. It was a blowout yesterday, so the Mets didn't use their better relievers, although I don't know if I really want to trust this bullpen against Atlanta's. Mets only used 2 guys yesterday, though. But Atlanta's the number 1 bullpen, like I said, and it's not even really that close. The Mets are number 3, although I don't think they're quite that good. Atlanta's offense has not been as good at home and not as good recently, although they did explode yesterday. But their offense has been bad recently. They're at 15th overall, and the Mets are 29th right now. So the Mets got out of that bottom spot again. But this is all about backing Nolan McLain. He's the Mets' best starter. I think he's the better starter in this game. 3.78 ERA, 1.12 whip. Really good on the road, 2.49 road ERA. He's considerably better on the road, although actually his home stats actually suggest that his ERA is misleadingly high at home as well. McLain was good in his last outing. He shut out Toronto for 6 innings. He's been good for the last entire month, except that his walk rate was a little bit high at the beginning of the month. And yes, that did include a start against Atlanta, where he only lasted 4 innings. He wasn't very efficient. He gave up 4 walks. But the Mets actually won that game, although they had to do it kind of later in the game. He didn't get a win in the game, at least, because he didn't go 5 innings. But he held him to 2 runs on 3 hits. So, you know, as long as he gets this walk number down a bit, he should be good here. His strikeout rate has gone back up after that game as well. So he's been striking guys out again recently. Walk rate has gone down. He's a good pitcher, man. He's got a low hit rate. His walk rate is pretty low as well. Strikeout rate is high. Everything that you like to see him. And, of course, I know it'll be the Braves seeing him again. So a lot of times these pitchers that are young, like McLain, they'll be better in their first appearance against an offense because that offense hasn't seen them before. The Braves, I think, have seen him twice already now, though, because I believe he pitched last year too, right? Yeah, I believe the Braves have seen him more than once. They have 23 at-bats against him, but they have not had success against him. No extra base hits, 8 strikeouts, 3 walks, 174 average, 443 OPS. So I like those numbers here, and we're going to fade Martín Pérez, who I've just kind of been waiting for Perez to regress a little bit because, I mean, his... Obviously, Nolan McLain has the much higher ceiling here. Perez is a much older guy who's never been like a strikeout guy. He's a guy that gets you to hit into soft contact. He's pitched well this year. There's no doubt about that. 3.27 ERA, 1.16 whip. He is good at home, too. 2.37 home ERA. But he does seem to be kind of faltering a little bit here. Wasn't really as good over the month of June. He had a 19-12 strikeout walk ratio in June in 25 1/3 innings. Still only allowed 22 hits, but that walk number That's a little concerning, man. He doesn't really strike guys out, and now he's starting to put guys on base. He just had two pretty easy opponents to face against San Diego in San Diego and St. Louis. Well, St. Louis is a mediocre offense. And I guess, yeah, you could argue they are better on the road. So that was a road game for St. Louis there. But I still don't think it's a good sign that Perez was bad in both those outings. He was good against the Mets earlier in the month. Went to New York and shut them down for 5 1/3 innings. Only gave up 1 earned run. That was his one good start over the past month. So, yeah, I know. But I think it's a bad sign that he wasn't good recently in San Diego, which is like a pretty ideal pitching matchup, really. Perez, he's got a low hit rate. His walk rate is a little bit too high, or maybe even more than a little bit too high. His strikeout rate is also low. I mean, he's not really fooling anyone, and his numbers are not good against the Mets, even though he did pitch well against them last time out. 64 at-bats against them, 9-12 strikeout walk ratio. That's not good. Not at all. 328 batting average allowed, 856 OPS. They got a couple guys in here that do a pretty decent amount of damage in double-digit at-bats. Bo Bichette and Lindor both do some damage against him. Juan Soto also does as well. So the better hitters in this lineup all do some damage against him. Yeah, let's go with the Mets, first 5. I think that's all I had to say about that. So, yeah, I mean, I think you get the motivational edge. You get a starting pitching edge with this starting pitching matchup. I considered full game because I think the motivation might continue, and I think maybe if the starting pitching works out the way we think it will, Atlanta's bullpen will have to come into the game first, but I'll still just focus on the starting pitching where I think we have the biggest edge. So that's play number 1. Dirty Sock, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. Yes, Toph, I'm an oaf, whatever. Braves money line, God. That seems like kind of a biased play to me. Who are the pitchers? I don't even remember who the pitchers were. What the pitching map? Oh, it was against Manaea. Whatever. I mean, I don't know. I was completely wrong about that game. I thought that game had a chance to go under. It was all about what you thought Manaea was going to do. Well, this is the thing. The Mets, I told you the Mets are underrated. Like, their record is not indicative of the talent that they have. The same goes for the Red Sox. Like, you can't just look at the record and say, this is what this team is. Like, this team has talent. But, I mean, when that happens, usually it is a managerial problem. And both of those teams fired their manager during the season. So, yeah, I mean, I think you could see those teams make a run here. I mean, I hate the Yankees a lot more than I hate the Mets. The Mets are just like, I don't know. The Mets are just like a team that you just pity. But yes, the Mets are the play there. All right. First 5, though. Pittsburgh, Washington. Most of the games are going to be in the afternoon here. This has been I was going to say it's been a high-scoring series. I expected this to be a high-scoring series. Yesterday's game was not as high-scoring. These teams have split the series so far, so this will be the last game of the series. It is the rubber match here. I expect both teams to show up. Pittsburgh got the game yesterday, 7-1, which... Oh, I was right about that. So, of course, I didn't put that one on my card, and I was completely correct about it. I said Pittsburgh would win behind Braxton Ashcraft against Zach Littell, or I think it was Littell behind an opener. I don't know. Pittsburgh used 4 relief pitchers. Washington, if this page would even load, used 2. One of them was their opener, though, Palmquist. But even though Pittsburgh has a rest disadvantage there, Washington's bullpen is pretty bad. They're 26th, Pittsburgh 22nd. I don't like either bullpen, but Pittsburgh's is still the less bad of the two. Both offenses are good. So again, bad bullpens, good offenses. It does seem like that is pretty run conducive. Pittsburgh number 2 in offense. Washington number 4 in offense. This pitching matchup here, I think both of these guys do have some talent. They're both pretty young. Bubba Chandler is the younger of the two. Chandler hasn't really figured it out yet, though. 4.62 ERA, 1.39 whip. He's a little bit better on the road, 4.56 road ERA. His strikeout rate, has been okay. His walk rate is really his issue, though. He's pitched okay, I guess, over the past month, but he's got to get his walk rate down. I think he's better. he's better than he looks, but it's just because he's issuing so many walks here. That's why his ERA is bad. He's got a low hit rate, really high walk rate, which again is a huge problem. He's walking more than one guy every 2 innings. You cannot do that. And his strikeout rate is okay. Yeah, I mean, again, I think he's got some talent. He does actually have good numbers against Washington. 5 hitters have seen him, 12 at bats. They only have 1 hit, a single from Cruz, 4 strikeouts, no walks, 0.83 average, 167 OPS. Can Chandler pitch well here? He could. I think he's pretty unpredictable, man. Like, again, he's got a pretty high ceiling, in my opinion, but he walks everybody. So what do you, like, I don't know what you can expect. And if you walk guys against a lineup like Washington, they're going to make you pay more often than not. So I don't like that. Then we have persona non grata in Boston pitching for the Nationals here, Cade Cavalli, who we're all pissed at him up here because I still don't think he should have done that. Like, sit down boy against a guy that's 10 years your elder in the major leagues. Like, a young guy like Cavalli, again, he hasn't earned his stripes in the league yet. I know he's 27, but he hasn't been in the league that long, hasn't done anything yet. And you're going to bark like that when you strike out a guy who's in his 30s and he's been in the majors for over a decade and he's, proven himself in the majors. You're not supposed to do that. So Contreras was correct to take exception with that. Contreras' suspension that he's currently appealing is obviously he's going to get that suspension cut down because 7 games is ridiculous. Cavalli also got 7, but he's a starting pitcher, so that just means he's going to miss 1 start, but he's appealing too, so he's pitching today. Now, as far as this game, yeah, Cavalli is actually, I think he's a decent pitcher. 3.69 ERA, 1.33 whip is still not that good, but he's getting better. He's been a little bit better at home, 3.64 home ERA. Really good in his last 2 starts. 1 at home against Philly, and then he struck out 13 against the Red Sox in 7 innings. Threw 100 pitches, though. He allowed only 1 hit and no earned runs in that one in a win against the Red Sox. He dominated them. Now, it was his first time throwing 100 pitches all season, and possibly in his, I don't know if it was in his entire career. It actually might have been. So that worries me, man, that this could be a letdown spot for him because that was like his best performance of his career. You know what I mean? He had a huge amount of strikeouts, had a 1-hit performance. He got into an altercation with a team that has a lot of weight behind their name, the Red Sox, and he threw 100 pitches, I think, for the first time in his career, and now he's coming off of that. That would worry me a little bit, even though he is pitching well right now. So, yes, he is in good form. Do I really want to fade him right now? No, not really. I mean, he threw almost 100 pitches in a couple other games, so I don't know how big of a deal that really is. His hit rate is still a little bit too high. His walk rate is actually pretty low, so he's actually too hittable is really his problem. His strikeout rate is high. He's definitely got strikeout stuff. He has not been good against Pittsburgh in a small sample size, 12 at-bats, but most of their hitters have faced him. 417 average, 1,117 OPS, 2-3 strikeout walk ratio, so he doesn't match up well against Pittsburgh here. Chandler actually has the better matchup numbers. I mean, I'm leaving this game alone. I think there are just too many conflicting factors here. The money is coming in on Washington, 71% of tickets, 87% of the cash on them at minus 134. Based on the pitching matchup, I don't know. I might slightly want to buck that and lean and the Bucks, the Pirates, and lean slightly towards Pittsburgh, I think, but it's a difficult call. I mean, Cavalli is the pitcher that's at least in the better form. Money is also playing the over at 9.5. I don't know what to do about that. I mean, I could see the argument for it, obviously. I mean, this entire series is kind of an over argument, like I said, with good hitting and bad bullpens. But I don't think I'd want to really do it in that starting pitching matchup. Money, by the way, is backing the under quite a bit in the Mets-Braves game with a total at 9, which just seems, I don't know, that total seems too high to me in that game. A Nolan McLain game with a total at 9 with 2 pretty good bullpens and one starting pitcher that I think is a bit more questionable than the other. Obviously, I gave out the Mets as a play, and that's my focus in that game. That total just, I don't know what's going on with that total. But the odds makers, they know what they're doing, man. Although the last time I said that, I I forget which game it was. It was like 2 days ago. I think there was a total of 9, and I was just like, what the hell is that? And I was right. That game went under. It landed 8, whichever game that was. I can't remember what it was, though. This kind of reminds me of that, though. Like, I'm looking at this, and I'm like, what's going on with that? But the odds makers know what they're doing, man. They're not just going to throw up a high total like that, if they really think it's going to be a low-scoring game. But I don't know. That game, that feels like that total is too high to me, though. But that would also worry me if I was going to play the under. Oh, yeah, Chris Sale. Dude, you cannot play a money line on a game like that with Chris Sale. You're paying way too much money for it. Have you learned nothing from my show? I don't care if they won or not. Like, you're paying way too much of a price for Chris Sale. If you're going to play that game, do like a run line or something. Kyle, what's up, man? All right. Baltimore at Cincinnati. This game, I mean, this is not a good pitching matchup, I'll tell you that. Cincinnati's trying to avoid getting swept here at home. And, I talk about when a team is at home trying to avoid getting swept, a lot of times they will show motivation. They'll show up. Is Baltimore going to have a look ahead here? I don't know. Who are they playing next? I forget. This is why I have Tuesday's schedule up. They're playing the Cubs, so that might be a look ahead. I mean, they might have more attention, on the Cubs at this point than on the Reds, because Baltimore's already won the series. The Reds are kind of crappy. Reds don't have a good bullpen. The Reds only used 2 guys out of it yesterday. Baltimore used 4. Let's see. Baltimore, 14th in bullpen. I think they're maybe a little worse than that. Their ERA is not that good. Reds are definitely worse, though. The Reds are 28th. They're not a good bullpen. Baltimore is also the better offensive team. They're number 17. The Reds are number 22. Baltimore's going with Kyle Bradish. I think Bradish probably has the higher ceiling out of these 2 starting pitchers, but his whip indicates that his ERA is not where it should be. His ERA 3.77. His whip is 1.45, which is definitely too high. That indicates his ERA should be higher than it is. He's not as good on the road, 4.15 road ERA, so some things not looking good for him here. He did have a couple of really good starts recently against Seattle and Anaheim, both on the road. But Anaheim's really just not playing well right now. And they're not a good team, and they don't hit as well at home. And, of course, Seattle's a pitcher-friendly park. Then Bradish did struggle way more in his last start against Washington and walked 5 guys in 4 innings. But he only allowed 1 hit and 3 earned runs. But still, you can't walk that many guys, man. And his walk number has been too high recently. And all of his starts that weren't those 2 good ones over the month of June, he failed to make it 5 innings in all of them. His hit rate is fine on the season. His walk rate is definitely too high. Strikeout rate is actually fairly high. So his issue is the walks. Again, a lot of guys have that issue. Reds don't have much experience against him. Only 3 hitters have faced him. They do have 24 at-bats, though, and they have hit him well. 333 average, 860 OPS, 7-1 strikeout-walk ratio. I don't think it looks particularly good for Bradish, even though he is a little bit unfamiliar to them. He's been around for a while. This is not an ideal place to pitch either. It's more of a hitter-friendly ballpark. I don't think I would want to trust Nick Lodolo on the side of the Reds either, though. 5.05 ERA, 1.47 whip. He's really bad at home this year. 6.3 home ERA. That's not good. He didn't give up any runs in his last 2 starts against Milwaukee, but he walked 4 guys and allowed 1 hit. Both guys in their last start gave up 4 walks and 1 hit. But Lodolo shut out Milwaukee over those 5 innings. Also shut out Milwaukee in the previous start over 4 innings. But I'm pretty sure that he has good matchup numbers against Milwaukee. So I don't know what it is, but he just matches up well against Milwaukee, I think. So I do not think he's going to fare as well in this game. He wasn't pitching well prior to those games. His walk rate has been pretty much too high. His hit rate is too high as well. His strikeout rate is not particularly high. Nothing to really like about him here. His numbers against Baltimore aren't too bad, though. In 23 at-bats, he does have a really low 217 batting average against, but his OPS is right there in the middle, like an average OPS, 748. It's really close to that 750 threshold there. 8-5 strikeout walk ratio. That's not very good. I'm going to lean over in this game. I mean, it's not going to make my card or anything like that. Money is backing the under. I don't really understand that. Understand it. 61% of tickets, 74% of the cash on the under. Total's 9.5. I mean, obviously, it's high for a reason. I mean, you do not have very elite starting pitchers here, to say the least, and you don't have good bullpens here either. I would prefer the over anything else in that game. 9.5 also kind of signals to you the odds makers think it'll be a higher scoring game. 59% of the tickets are on Baltimore, 70% of the cash on the Reds. So, the Reds are trying to avoid the sweep, so I could see the argument for it. Lodolo also has the better matchup numbers, even though it's a small sample size. If you want to base anything off of that, I could see the argument for Cincinnati. I would not play them full game, though. I do not want to back Cincinnati's bullpen, so I'd lean Cincinnati first 5 slightly, but I prefer the over to anything else in that game. Cincinnati, you're getting them at a cheap price, at about pick-em price. You probably have to pay a little bit more first 5 because everybody knows their bullpen is trash. Minnesota and the Yankees. This is a split series at this point. The Yankees have not been playing good baseball recently, and they got shelled by Minnesota yesterday. I don't know what the Yankees were doing. I forget who that was. They brought in some spot starter who I told you wasn't really that particularly good of a prospect or anything. I don't know what they were doing yesterday in that game, but it was not good for the Yankees. That was Brendan Beck. And Zebby Matthews wasn't particularly good on the other side either. So that game soared over the total, but Minnesota did most of that damage and won 11-4. And this does not look like a terrific pitching matchup for the Yankees here either. So even though the Yankees usually beat Minnesota, I'm pretty sure, which is not surprising. Minnesota does have a starting pitching advantage here. They do not have a bullpen advantage, though. They used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. The Yankees also used a lot. They used 5, but the Yankees have a better bullpen. Yankees have the second best bullpen ERA right now, and they're ranked 4th in bullpen. They're good. The Mets bullpen is not, the Twins bullpen is not good at all. Number 29, and there are arguments still that they're worse than the Royals. Yankees are 6th offensively. Minnesota 7th, tied with Tampa Bay because they did explode yesterday, but Yankees are the better offense. These are both pretty capable offenses. However, as I alluded to, Minnesota does have a starting pitching edge here because they have Joe Ryan going, although he's on my shit list right now because he fucked us in his last start. He blew up in the 4th inning and cost us that first 5 play on Minnesota that last time he was out there. He's good, though. 3.61 ERA, 1.08 whip. He's a little bit worse on the road, 4.09 road ERA. Again, he wasn't good last time out against Houston. He was pitching well into the 4th inning, and then he just imploded in the 4th inning, and that cost us that game. I'm pretty pissed about that. He had a 3-0 lead behind him in that game. Come on, man. Other than that, he's pitched well. I know it looks like he allowed some runs there against the Dodgers, but he had a lot of strikeouts there. As I mentioned in that handicap for the Houston game, Ryan was pitching well, man. He had a lot of strikeouts. He's still, over that month of June, he was a little bit too hittable, but he had a really good strikeout rate, really low walk rate. So he was better in that month than his ERA would suggest. But we know he's a good pitcher, man. I mean, he's been around for a while. He's got a low hit rate, low walk rate, high strikeout rate. All those numbers are good. He is also good against the Yankees. It's 65 at bats, 231 average allowed, 665 OPS, 21-3 strikeout walk ratio. That is very good. So, yeah, Ryan does pitch well against the Yankees typically, or at least against the current lineup they have, which does not include Aaron Judge still. Yankees are going with Ryan Weathers, who is obviously not as good as Joe Ryan. The battle of the two Ryans. Weathers, he's not terrible, though. 4.08 ERA, 1.21 whip. He is better at home, 3.74 home ERA. So he is in the better of his splits here. He really struggled in his last start against Detroit. Maybe you can give him a little bit of a pass, though, because obviously the fielding was terrible behind him. 3 of the 5 runs he gave up were unearned. He was out of the game really quickly in that one, and he had just faced Detroit the start prior to that, so Detroit had recent familiarity with him, so it wasn't really as easy a task in that second game for him. But he wasn't pitching well at the beginning of June either, though, so he was getting a little bit worse. His hit rate is still pretty low on the season, though. His walk rate's still pretty low. His strikeout rate is still pretty high, so his across-the-board numbers are still pretty good over the course of the season. Twins haven't really seen much of him. They only have 4 hitters who have faced him, but they do have some success. 300 batting average, although the OPS is not very high. It's 700. 3-0 strikeout walk ratio, and the rest of the Twins haven't seen him before. So he might have a little bit of an unfamiliarity edge here. So I don't really think he's going to pitch poorly here. You could definitely make the argument for a first 5 play on Minnesota because it is Joe Ryan, and the money is agreeing with that. 66% of tickets on the Yankees, 56% of the cash on Minnesota for the full game. Yankees are minus 130 something for the full game. Minnesota's going to be less of a good price in the first 5, obviously, but you'll probably still get them as an underdog in the first 5. I would agree with Minnesota in the first 5 in this one. I think Joe Ryan can outpitch Ryan Weathers here. But, I think the under makes some sense here too, and the money seems like it does agree with that. Although I would only make that a first 5 play too because you can't back Minnesota's bullpen, man. You can't do it. And the Yankees' bullpen's a little bit used after yesterday. 67% of tickets on the over, 66% of the cash on the over, total 8.5. So the money is indicating towards the under there. Again, I could see the argument for it, but I would do it first 5. So I like Minnesota first 5, probably the best actually in that game. But I think under in the first 5 also makes sense in that game. All right, White Sox, Cleveland. I'm not going to give you an under in this one. Cleveland won the first 2 games of the series and then lost yesterday. So this is a 4-game series, and Cleveland is 2-1 in the series right now. It's a big series for both teams, so both teams should continue to show up here. White Sox used 2 relief pitchers. Indians used 4 yesterday, and they used their better relievers because it was a save situation, I'm pretty sure. So White Sox, their bullpen is a little bit better with the rest situation here, but Cleveland is the better bullpen generally. They're 16th. The White Sox are 20th. They're both decent bullpens, though, I would say. Cleveland's is a little bit better, but they're also less rested. So these are pretty even bullpens here, in my opinion, right now. White Sox are definitely the better offense. They're tied in 10th. Cleveland 28th, and again, still without Jose Ramirez. White Sox have Chris Murphy listed as a starter. I looked into it, and I'm pretty sure Eric Fedde is going to be pitching in this game. I think Murphy is going to be an opener in front of Fedde. So if you're going to play this game, again, what I would do is I would pick Bybee must start for Cleveland, and don't specify a starting pitcher for the White Sox. And I believe we had the same pitching matchup, I'm pretty sure, the last time Bybee was on the mound, if I remember correctly. I think I gave Cleveland out as a play, if I'm not mistaken. I think they did win that game. And I think it was the same setup. I think I said pick Bybee must start. Don't specify a White Sox pitcher because I'm pretty sure we know that Murphy is an opener here and then Eric Fedde is coming in after that. I'm almost positive that's what they're doing because Fedde would be next up in their rotation if you want to consider him to be in the rotation. Murphy, I don't think we need to go into him really because he's only going to go 1 inning here pretty much, but 3.79 ERA, 1.37 whip, whatever. Yeah, he pitched against Cleveland. He pitched 2 days ago. He also pitched 3 days ago. And I think the game I was thinking of, it was I guess it was 2 starts ago for whatever this was when it came up. I think it was a play in, this previous series. It was in late June. I think that's what I'm remembering. It feels more recent than that, man. Although this always throws me off because Murphy pitches in so many games. So whatever. But yeah, his numbers are good against Cleveland, though. So I think it is fairly likely Murphy is going to have a clean first inning. But then you're going to be, I'm assuming, looking at Eric Fedde after that, and he is not good. So I think Cleveland is pretty fadeable here. Or excuse me, the White Sox are pretty fadeable here. Fedde, almost positive he's coming into pitch in this game. 4.41 ERA, 1.43 whip, not good. Not good on the road, 5.79 road ERA. He last pitched, this is the game I was thinking of. I'm pretty sure I gave out a winner on Cleveland on June 24th. That was a similar setup. I'm pretty sure Murphy opened the game, and then Fedde pitched 4 innings after that. He wasn't good. He only allowed 1 earned run, but he wasn't very good. He walked 3 guys, gave up 5 hits. He got lucky to only allow 1 earned run there. 2 strikeouts, whatever. I think if I did give out that play, we barely won it. I mean, obviously, we barely won it. Cleveland won in extra innings. But I think that was a win for us on the show. Fetty does not have good numbers against Cleveland. 299 average allowed, 865 OPS, and 87 at bats. Bad strikeout walk ratio, too, 10-10. So I do not like how the White Sox pitching looks in this game. I would rather back Tanner Bybee here, who is the better pitcher here. I know his record looks like ass, but again, that's because he gets no run support this season. He got a ton last year, and this year he's getting none. 3.69 ERA, 1.11 whip. That's pretty good. He's good at home, 3.45 home ERA. He's in pretty good form over the past month or so. Had a really low hit rate in June. His strikeout rate wasn't particularly high, but he also wasn't putting guys on base. Had a 1.89 ERA in that month. Shut out the White Sox, by the way. In that, I think that was the game I gave out that play on. 6 shutout innings, and we still had to win the game in extra innings. Come on, man. I mean, my play was clearly correct in that game. Bybee, 6 shutout innings. He was way better than Fetty in that one. That was that same game. Bybee, overall low hit rate, pretty low walk rate too. Strikeout rate not really high though. But against the White Sox, he does do really well. 57 at bats, 158 average, allowed 401 OPS. That's really good. 13-5 strikeout walk ratio is not very good. All the rest of his numbers against the White Sox are good though. I could only back Cleveland in this game. I know maybe their bullpen edge is a little bit erased there. The money is not playing Cleveland here. The money's back in the White Sox. I don't get it, man. I really don't. 74% of tickets on Cleveland, 69% of the cash on them. Cleveland's the heaviest favorite they've been in this series, in this game, and I think it's because it's Eric Fetty on the other side. Minus 148 basically is the price here. Now, I'm surprised, though, because I would think the public, as I've said all series, I would think the public would look at this and think, how am I getting the White Sox as an underdog here? Like, the public loves offense, so they like the White Sox over Cleveland. I don't know, man, but apparently not in this game. I don't really get it. But, yeah, I like Cleveland in this one. I can see the argument for going first 5 because I think Cleveland has the bigger advantage in the first 5 here. They might have the slightly better bullpen, but it's also not rested. So the bullpens are a little bit of a toss-up. First 5, I think you get the biggest edge with Cleveland with Bybee against probably about 4 innings of Eric Fetty there, if he doesn't get knocked out before then. The money is also on the over here at 8.5. I don't know about the over, man. I don't have a great feel for the total there. I mean, both bullpens, I don't know, man. I mean, Cleveland's bullpen isn't exactly in good shape, but the bullpens aren't really that bad. And I like one of the 2 starting pitchers, obviously, so I don't have a good feel for the total there. All right. St. Louis and Chicago, the Cubs. The Cubs are trying to avoid getting swept here. They've gotten outscored in this series 20-1. I mean, of course, most of that was that one game where they got annihilated, but they scored nothing in yesterday's game. What is going on with the Cubs, dude? I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. I think that was against Leahy too, wasn't it? The Cubs couldn't even get any runs against Kyle Leahy. Leahy on the road. Like, what are you doing, man? I don't know what's going on. The Cubs should be motivated here. I mean, we're looking at the Cubs are the better team, and they're at home trying to avoid a sweep. And, I like to look at a team in that situation when they're trying to avoid getting swept and they're at home and they're the better team. Although it does mean you'll have to lay like a favorite price if you want the Cubs here. But this is the last game of the series, so they're trying to avoid the sweep here. I don't know if I love the pitching setup for the Cubs here, though. The Cubs bullpen, they are the better one, but they used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. St. Louis also did use 4, though. Cubs, we have ranked 12th in whip here. I think they're a little bit better than that, though. Maybe not. St. Louis is 21st, although they're more of a mediocre ERA, at least. But I think the Cubs are the better bullpen. Cubs are the better offense. They're ranked 5th here, despite what's been going on in this series. St. Louis is 16th, so even after what's gone on in this series, Cubs still are the better offensively ranked team. Cubs get to go up against Matthew Liberatore in this one. He is not good for St. Louis. 5.33 ERA, 1.55 whip. That is not good. He's slightly worse on the road, 5.45 road ERA. He pitches a little bit better in St. Louis's pitcher-friendly park. He looks like he was good last time out against Atlanta. 1 run allowed on 1 hit in 5 innings, but he also walked 4 guys, and he had 9 strikeouts. That was a weird start from him because he usually does not strike guys out, but all the rest of his starts over the entire month of June were bad. So I'm not about to say that he's actually good right now. I don't think so. He's allowed a really high hit rate on the season. His walk rate is too high. His home run rate is not good. He's an extreme fly ball pitcher. His strikeout rate is okay. Numbers against the Cubs are actually not that bad. In 74 at-bats, 243 average, 725 OPS, 18-10 strikeout walk ratio is not good, though. But you got to think the Cubs are going to find some offense here against Liberatore. I mean, he's not very good. But the Cubs are going to go with Javier Assad here. His numbers have been good so far this season. He's been working out of the bullpen for a lot of it, though. He's also from Mexico, so he might be distracted, dude. Because Mexico's soccer team is playing, I think, during this game, if I'm not mistaken. When is this game? Nobody's going to think about this, but this game is at 2:30 p.m. The World Cup game is on at 4 p.m. No, sorry, it's on at 8 p.m. Never mind. Mexico's in the evening game. I was going to say he's going to be distracted because he's from Mexico and his team is playing in the World Cup here. But I don't know, man. I don't know if he's going to be distracted by that or not, but it's happening at night. This game's during the day. He's got a 4.53 ERA, 1.12 whip. Some of that is from working out of the bullpen. He is pretty good at home, though, 2.78 home ERA. But if you look at what he's done recently, this is not a good sign, dude. He was not really good in his last 2 starts against San Diego and the Mets. You know, if you can't do well against those offenses, there's something wrong. I know he pitched well his first 2 times they brought him in when I forget who it was. One of the Cubs starters got knocked out due to an injury. I forget who it was in the first San Francisco game. They brought in Assad. He pitched well. He pitched well again against San Francisco after that when he joined the starting rotation. But he hasn't been good since then. He's got a low strikeout rate. He hasn't been that good. At home against the Rockies was the other game in there. Like, I just think he matches up well against the Giants, and the Giants are not a good offense. I don't trust Assad here. He's given up 2 home runs apiece in each of his last 3 starts. The Colorado one was not in Coors Field. This is not good, dude. It's not a good sign. His hit rate is pretty low. His walk rate is pretty low. I'll give him all that. He does not fool guys. He doesn't strike them out. His home run rate is definitely too high. Numbers against St. Louis are not good. 38 at-bats, 289 average, 833 OPS, 10-3 strikeout walk ratio. I think I'm going to lean over in this game. I think that's probably the better way to play this. This is a total of 8, which might mean there is a little bit of wind blowing in Wrigley because I don't think Liberatore versus Assad is going to usually have a total as low as 8, I wouldn't think. So maybe there is some wind blowing in here, but I think the over makes the most sense here. 73% of tickets, 76% of the cash on the over, so maybe a slight market lean towards the over. The big market lean is on St. Louis, though, which I don't think I could agree with that. 77% of tickets on the Cubs, 86% of the cash on St. Louis. I mean, I understand wanting to fade Assad, which is why I like the over here, but I think both pitchers are fadeable, and the Cubs, they got to somehow get a win here, man, in this series. I mean, I know it's not an ideal pitcher on the mound for them. They're favored at about minus 140 something. Maybe that's part of the reason why the money is on St. Louis, just because the price is too high on the Cubs. But you're still talking about the better team at home trying to avoid a sweep. So I would slightly lean towards the Cubs finding some way to get it done there. But I think the over makes way more sense in that game than anything else. Philadelphia at Kansas City. This is a weird series. So this is a wraparound series. Well, it's not really a wraparound series. Well, the wraparound series would go from Friday to Monday. This is a 3-game series that's going Saturday to Monday. And they were off on Friday because of the World Cup. Very weird series. I think they were off because the World Cup was in Kansas City, I guess. Now, Kansas City lost yesterday 6-1. Luzardo was good in the game yesterday. He is good on the road, as I mentioned, but I wasn't sure what he would do in that game. Kansas City, they have a bad bullpen. In fact, worse than baseball. They used 3 relievers. Philly also used 3. Kansas City clearly at a bullpen disadvantage. Philadelphia is 15th. They're like a middle-of-the-pack bullpen. Offensively, neither team has been that good. Philadelphia's been getting a little bit better. They're 19th right now, tied with Detroit. Kansas City is 22nd, tied with the Reds. This pitching matchup, though, Aaron Nola is pitching for Philadelphia, man, and he has not been good. Like, I don't know if this guy's ever going to recover from his injuries at this point. We faded him in his last start on the show. We got a win by fading him, although both pitchers wound up being bad in that game, but Nola was so bad. I think that was Nola against Ashcraft, if I'm not mistaken, which seemed like a mismatch to me, so that's why I gave up Pittsburgh, of course. Neither pitcher was good, but Nola was horrible in that game, so we still got the win. Nola has not been good, dude. 6.04 ERA, 1.49 whip. He's been a little bit better on the road, 5.4 road ERA, which is still not good. This was that start. He gave up 7 earned runs, 8 runs against Pittsburgh last time out in 4 1/3. He's not in good form. He's not pitching well. His strikeout rate is good, but all the rest of his numbers are bad over the past month. High hit rate, high walk rate. Over the course of the season, he has a high hit rate. His walk rate actually isn't too bad. Strikeout rate is actually pretty good as well, so he's just way too hittable. And he's given up a lot of home runs, so that's not good either. His numbers against Kansas City are not good. In 89 at-bats, his numbers are actually kind of crazy because he has a ridiculously good 31-1 strikeout walk ratio against them. So you think, well, that's complete domination. Like, those are amazing numbers. Yet Kansas City has a 292 batting average and 918 OPS off him. So that tells me that, like, he's just throwing pitches right over the plate pretty much. Like, sometimes his fastball is going by these guys, sometimes it's not. And coming off of injury, it looks like surgery or whatever, it looks like probably his fastball is limited now, so that's not a good sign. I think Kansas City could definitely put up some offense here. Kansas City's going with Luinder Avila, who's a really young pitcher. I think he's a real wild card here. He's from Venezuela, so I don't know if he's going to have something in his head about the earthquake scenario that's going on there or not. It might motivate him, though. Like, Contreras is from there for the Red Sox. Wilson Contreras, whatever the hell his name is. That scenario pumped him up, and he's been playing better. So maybe Avila will go out there and pitch well. His numbers don't look good, I know. 5.4 ERA. 1.67 whip. He's been really bad at home. 12.79 home ERA. But it's in a really small sample size, and it's clearly being skewed because he had one really bad start at home against Houston, where he gave up 8 runs in less than an inning. That outing is skewing all of his numbers, dude. So he's not quite as bad as that. However, I will admit his walk rate is just enormous. Like, he's got to figure that out. His hit rate is a little bit too high. His strikeout rate is okay, but his walk rate is a huge issue. Like, if his walk rate was anywhere near normal, he would actually be a pretty good pitcher, I think. That walk rate is just insane. So I don't want to back him here, but I definitely understand wanting to fade Nola here. But this walk rate is just ridiculous. 30 walks in 46 and 2/3 innings. Come on, man. Philadelphia has 3 hitters who have seen him, which kind of surprises me that anybody's faced him before because he's young and he's in the opposite league, the American League. They're a combined 0 for 2 off him with a walk and no strikeouts. What does that mean? I don't know, man. The money is back in Kansas City here, and I was thinking about it because fading Nola does make a lot of sense here. The starting pitching matchup, to me, looks like it does actually favor Kansas City. 89% of tickets on Philly, 61% of the cash on the Royals. So the money, there's a huge market disparity there. So the market read looks like it's very strong on Kansas City. It's also backing the over in this game, and I think I like the over best in this game. But I think if you play Kansas City, you should play them first 5. There's no way that you can back Kansas City's bullpen, in my opinion. You're going to get them as an underdog, either in the first 5 or full game. So Philly's about minus 140 or so on the full game. Kansas City, again, you'll get them as a dog in the first 5. So if you want to take Kansas City, first 5, money line, I agree with that, but I think the over is a little bit better here. 63% of tickets, 90% of the cash on the over. I don't trust either starter here. I think both starters could give something up here. And then Kansas City's bullpen coming in, I mean, they're probably going to give something up here. And, Kauffman Stadium is no longer a pitcher-friendly stadium now that they move the walls in. Total's at 10. I think that total is actually kind of reasonable here. I like the over there in that one. All right. Detroit and Texas. This will be a play for me. Kumar Rocker, who I was trying to play on yesterday, luckily that wound up being a no play, as I mentioned at the top of the show, because assume that I'm telling you to play both of the select both of the starting pitchers must start. Assume that unless I say otherwise. I always say that on the show because the starting pitching has a lot to do with how we handicap this, So unless I say, I don't care who's starting for this, like with the White Sox today, I'm saying not specify a White Sox starter if you want to play that game because it's going to be either Fedde starting or Fedde behind an opener, right? This is the way that you have to handicap baseball now, man. But Rocker got pushed back to today. I don't know why Texas did that, but whatever. But this is going to be a play for me today. And I am going to still back Rocker here, but I'm not going to back Texas on the side. I'm going to give out the under 7.5 this time. I like both starting pitchers here. As I said, this this series just feels like an under series. You know what I mean? And I believe we did lose on the under in the first game of the series, which I'm not happy about. I don't know what happened there. Yesterday went way under, even though Cal Quantrill was on the mound for Texas. He was not good, but, the game still went way under. Jack Flaherty was shockingly good in the game yesterday. I don't know what to tell you, man. I thought Flaherty would suck yesterday, so I'm glad that we took a no play on that because I did not expect Flaherty to be really good in the game yesterday. But today is a new matchup, man. It's a new game, and I think this is an under game here. I like both bullpens well enough here, and we're getting the key number of 7.5 here. Texas used 3 relief pitchers yesterday, but they were losing the game, so they didn't use their best relievers, so their best relievers are available today. Detroit actually didn't use their better relievers either. They used Keter Montero, who's been one of their starters. They used him to finish the game. They used him as a closer, basically, yesterday. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, Detroit, they're rested bullpen at least. They only used him and Holton, who's another long relief type of guy, and they only use him for 4 pitches. So he's obviously still available today, too. He hadn't pitched for a while. So Detroit has a pretty clean bullpen coming into this game. I'm fine with going with both bullpens here, especially when we're getting the key number there, the hook, the 7.5. As I always say, 7 is key in baseball. All the odd numbers are key because some team has to break a tie. Now, as far as the bullpens, Texas is ranked 8th. They're a good bullpen, even though they've been struggling a little bit recently, but I like their bullpen. It's good. We're in a pitcher-friendly park here, too. Texas is notorious for playing low-scoring games at home. Detroit, they're 19th in bullpen, but I think they're better than that. Their ERA is right around 4, and yeah, I don't mind that, especially given that they're pretty rested here. So I think we're okay with that. The hitting is not particularly good on either side. Rangers 18th, Detroit 19th. Detroit's not as good on the road. Like I said, Texas, they pitch better at home, and they don't hit well at home. And also, we're going to back both starting pitchers. Casey Mize is pitching for Detroit. I think he's good. He's got some strong numbers here, man. He missed some part of the season with an injury, but he's been good since he came back. 2.63 ERA, 0.97 whip. That's solid stuff. And really, I think both pitchers in this game today are actually kind of under the radar. The public doesn't back Casey Mize, dude. You know what I mean? They don't know who he is. He is a little bit worse on the road, 3.19 road ERA, but that's still not bad, obviously. He's been good, like I said, since coming back from injury. He missed almost a month. He kind of struggled a little bit against Houston. Then he had to face the Yankees twice, which is not easy. And he did give up 4 runs the first time against them, but he had 6 strikeouts and 1 walk. So he was actually better in that game than it looked. And then he just aced the Yankees the last time. He went 7 one-hit shutout innings with 10 strikeouts and no walks against the Yankees, and he did all that with 88 pitches. So he didn't overextend himself at all. So that's a good sign, man, I think. I mean, I guess you could make the argument he'd be in a letdown off of doing that to the Yankees. I'm not so sure about that. And again, I like the fact that he really didn't throw that many pitches there. And he's been good. Over those 3 starts, his command has been on point. 19 strikeouts, 2 walks. That's good stuff. And fewer than 1 hit allowed per inning. He's got a really low hit rate on the season. His walk rate's also low. Strikeout rate is high. All those numbers are good. And he's facing Texas, who is a major step down from the Yankees. He's got 35 at-bats against them, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk. 229 average, allowed him 536 OPS. So, yeah, he's got good numbers against Texas. So, I think Mize should pitch well here. And, again, we're backing Kumar Rocker, who I was going to back yesterday. Rocker, I know his whip isn't very good. 3.83 ERA, 1.34 whip. He is not quite as good at home with a 4 ERA at home. But if you dig into his numbers a little bit, he's not really worse at home. Like, his hit rate is about the same. His opponent batting average is actually lower at home. His walk rate is about the same as well. His strikeout rate is a little bit lower. Maybe that's a little concerning, but I believe last year he was better at home in a bigger sample. Yeah, last year he was much, much better at home than he was on the road, although it actually wasn't that much bigger of a sample size. But, yeah, I think Rocker is debatably better at home. He's been good in his last 2 starts, as I pointed out yesterday. 11 innings, 2 earned runs allowed on 9 hits, 14 strikeouts and 1 walk against Miami and Toronto. I know, those offenses are not great. Miami's is probably debatably better than Detroit's, though. So, that wasn't too bad. So he was struggling a little bit going into those 2 starts, but he looks like he's back in form right now. He does have a decent hit rate on the season. His walk rate is too high, I know, and his strikeout rate is a little bit low. His problem is really the walks, but I'm hoping he gets that under control. I know he did pitch in Detroit earlier this year, and he was not good. 2 innings, gave up 5 runs on 7 hits, 2 strikeouts, no walks. I understand he wasn't good in that outing, but as I pointed out yesterday, he's got good numbers against Detroit. It's 21 at-bats, which isn't not a huge sample size, but they only have 1 extra base hit, a home run from Dingler, 190 batting average, and 524 OPS. So he does do well against them. So I'm going to back the under in this game, man. I think the starting pitching lines up well enough for it. The money seems to agree, and I know, dude, yesterday we had market agreement on all of my plays yesterday. I think except for the soccer play, maybe, but it's hard for me to read the soccer market. All I have is Action Network to go on with that, so I don't know. Although it's a paid tool. But I use it to track my bets, you know what I mean? Like I think it's the best bet tracker, although they do have some issues with their desktop site, but their app is better, the mobile app. 68% of the tickets on the over, 65% of the cash on the under in this game. So we are agreeing with the market. I'd rather agree with the market than not, man. So I like that the market's in agreement with me on this. Total is 7.5, like I said, just right across the board. 7.5 pretty much straight up. I'm sure you can find a pretty good number on this. Money also is backing Detroit for whatever that's worth. It's basically a pick'em price. Detroit kind of a slight favorite. 69% of tickets, 88% of the cash on Detroit. I probably don't disagree. I think Mize is just a little bit more proven than Rocker. Mize is probably a little bit more advantageous to back here. Detroit also arrested bullpen, although I don't know if I'd want to fade Texas' bullpen, though. So maybe Detroit first 5 makes some sense, but obviously I prefer the under. So that is my play there. That's my last baseball play, unless I decide to add one totally on the fly here. Tampa Bay and Houston. This series has been a split series so far, with Houston winning yesterday to end a losing streak. These teams will move on to play different opponents coming up. Tampa Bay does play the Yankees next, so I don't know if they're going to look ahead or not. They probably won't look ahead because these teams will both still try to win this series, in my opinion. Yesterday we got screwed. I mean, both starting pitchers were just way worse than I thought they would be. I mean, that was an ace matchup yesterday, dude. I'm pissed that went so poorly. Especially Hunter Brown. Houston had to use 4 relief pitchers yesterday. Tampa Bay also used 4. Now, I know I backed the bullpens in yesterday's game with that play. Both bullpens have been pitching okay recently. Tampa Bay, still not great on the season, even though they're ranked 9th. Their ERA is not that good. Houston has been getting better. Houston is at 18th which is a lot better than where they were at the beginning of the season. But I don't think I'd want to back the bullpens in this one because there's just a lack of rest there, and they're both kind of mediocre. They were more rested coming into yesterday's game. Houston is 14th in offense, so they've fallen off there a little bit. Tampa Bay is tied in 7th with the Twins. I don't think Tampa Bay is quite that good on offense, but whatever. The starting pitching matchup is interesting. Griffin Jax is pitching for Tampa Bay. At least, well, actually, they're undecided right now, so I don't know what they're doing. I think it still is probably going to be Jax, but a lot of times they put an opener in front of him. So I'm guessing that's what they're doing here. They're either going to go with Jax straight out, or they're going to put an opener in front of him, and then he's going to come in. I think that's what they're going to do. But it makes it a little bit hard to predict because I'm not sure. I'm more sure about Fedde pitching for the White Sox, coming in after an opener, I mean. Jax has a 3.45 ERA and 1.27 whip. That's not bad, especially for a 31-year-old converted reliever. He's actually pitched pretty well. 3.24 road ERA. Tampa Bay, dude, their pitching coaching is good. I don't know. They seem to get the most out of their pitchers. Jax has pitched pretty well, man. Over the last month or so, he's been good. Really low walk rate here. High strikeout rate. Hit rate was okay over the course of the month. Pretty much the same over the course of the season. Strikeout rate not too high, but decent. Walk rate maybe a little bit high there. Hit rate fairly low. Yeah, overall he's been good. Numbers against Houston are fairly good. In 20 at-bats, 250 average, 700 OPS, 7-0 strikeout walk ratio. Of course, I'm assuming he's still pitching in this game, either starting or coming in after an opener and still going a starter's workload. We will see. Houston's going with Peter Lambert, who has had a good season here, man. Again, I think this guy maybe always had talent, but just being with the Rockies just kind of ruined the start of his career. He's been good. 3.51 ERA, 1.18 whip. A little bit worse at home, 3.75 home ERA. Not good recently, though. He's walked too many guys in his last couple outings. His walk rate is a little bit of an issue. Didn't really do too well here on the road against Toronto and at home against Minnesota. So he's not really in good form right now, so that's not a great sign. His numbers are pretty good on the season. Low hit rate. His walk rate is too high, though. Like I said, that's his one major issue is the walks. His strikeout rate is a little bit low, but I don't think he's a massive strikeout guy. Tampa Bay only has 3 guys who have seen him, 9 at-bats. The only hit is a single from Fortes. 3 strikeouts, no walks, 111 average, of course, 222 OPS. So, yeah, I mean, I think Lambert might actually pitch okay here. I think this game looks like a first 5 under to me. If Jax is actually going to go here, even if it's behind an opener, first 5 under, I think makes the most sense to me in that game. I don't think I'd really want to risk it and do it. And the money is actually backing the over. 75% of tickets, 94% of the cash. That's the full game, though. And I understand not wanting to play these bullpens or fading the bullpens. Total's at 8.5, so it's right there in no man's land. You figure it out. But yeah, I think first 5 under is the better way to look at this. Tampa Bay is favored. A little bit public, 65% of tickets, but 71% of the cash on them, too. I don't know if I'd want to back Tampa, to be honest. Houston maybe a little bit undervalued as a home dog here. Tampa's been overperforming, man. I think Tampa's good. They're going to be a playoff team. I don't think they're actually better than the Yankees, or anything like that. So, laying a road favorite price like that when you don't even know for sure what their starting situation is going to be, maybe you do just suck it up and back Lambert. Maybe you do it in the first 5. So yeah, I think first 5 under is still the better way to look at that game, but first 5 money line on Houston might make some sense there too. San Francisco and Colorado. This game almost made the cut for me. I like the total in this game, but it is a little bit too high maybe. But I like the over, obviously. Colorado did lose yesterday 6-4. Losing a win streak. The first game of the series went way over. Colorado with a 15-3 win. Yesterday's game went under, landed at 10. It went under because it's a Coors Field game, and I think the total was 12. Colorado used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. San Francisco also did. Colorado, not a good bullpen. They're ranked 27th, and of course, it's not a good situation pitching at Coors Field, so that affects their numbers too. San Francisco's really been surprisingly bad out of the bullpen this year. They're 25th. They have not been a very good bullpen. So these are both fadeable bullpens. San Francisco's 13th in offense. However, I don't think they're that good, as I keep pointing out. Colorado ranked 3rd in offense. I think they're not quite that good either, but they're a decent offense, and they're starting to hit pretty well, and they're doing some damage at home, which is kind of predictable because obviously this is a very offensive stadium. This is not a good pitching matchup. Tyler Mahle is pitching for the Giants here. This guy sucks. 5.67 ERA, 1.47 WHIP. He's been decent at home in the pitcher-friendly environment for the Giants there, and unfortunately I tried to fade him not that long ago at home, and it didn't work out, but on the road he's been horrible. 8.79 home ERA. You think that's going to play well pitching on the road in Coors Field here? Probably not. That one game that I was talking about, he was good against the A's, or good enough. Was not good last time out on the road against Arizona, though. I don't think he's good, dude. He's got a high hit rate. His walk rate is too high. His strikeout rate is okay. I'm not liking what I'm seeing here. And he also gives up a lot of fly balls and a lot of home runs, so that's not good. Well, his fly ball rate actually isn't that high, but his home run rate is too high, so that's not a good sign either. Pitching in Coors Field, and the Rockies, they don't have great numbers against him. What do they have? They have 7 hitters who have faced him, only 17 at bats. They only have 1 extra base hit, a double from Goodman, 6 strikeouts, no walks. They do have a 294 average against him, so they do hit him for contact, but they don't hit him for power. 647 OPS. Still, I don't think he's going to pitch well still. I mean, he's got bad road numbers. Looks like he is pretty fly ball heavy, or home run heavy, I mean. Tanner Gordon is pitching on the other side. Not good for the Rockies. 6.69 ERA, 1.59 WHIP. That's not good. He's been really bad at home. 9.7 home ERA. Of course, Coors Field, I mean, we know the deal. It's not good to pitch there. So we have home road splits are both extreme for both pitchers, and they're both opposed to these pitchers here. So they're both in the really bad end of their home road splits. Gordon, I mean, he's just not pitching well. I mean, what do you expect? He's got a really high hit rate. His strikeout rate is actually good. His walk rate is actually pretty good. But he is an extreme fly ball pitcher. He allows a lot of fly balls. He's allowed a decent amount of home runs here, and he gets hit pretty hard. So I don't like that. And his numbers against San Francisco are not good. 22 at bats is not a giant sample size. Or is it? 318 batting average allowed, 830 OPS, 3-2 strikeout walk ratio. Yeah, none of that is good. So I would play the over in this game if I was going to do anything with it. This one is probably the next one in line for me. Like, I consider putting this on my card pretty strongly. It's just a little high for me, man. I know it's high for a reason, obviously, but it's 13. I mean, I don't know. I mean, as I always say though, you do want to you want to go over the highest totals, right? Because the public's going to look at that and think that's so high. Like, how could I possibly play an over? 68% of tickets are on the under, 94% of the cash on the over, though. So the market is indicating on the over. That is the way I would play that game. I mean, again, you might be able to find a 12.5, and 13 is a key number. We don't talk about that much, but every odd number is key in baseball because it breaks the tie. Although the higher you get, the less important it is. But 12.5 juice to the over, if you can find that, that makes a bit more sense. That's what I would do in this game. I would try to go over the 12.5 juice to the over and get off that key number of 13. San Francisco's a slight favorite, 66% of tickets, 71% of the cash on San Francisco. I don't have a good feel for the side, though. I think the total is where it's at in that game. And again, it feels high. I usually just avoid totals when they're that high, but the over makes the most sense. And again, when it's that high for a reason. As I always say, usually the odds makers are telling you something by where they put that number. The odds makers, they always signal something to you with their number, you know what I mean? So if it's really low, usually there's a reason for it. If it's really high, Usually there's a reason for it. So you actually want to go under the lowest totals and over the highest totals, generally. All right. I'm going to be right back. I'll talk about the rest of these games. There are 2 WNBA games and 2 World Cup games. I'm going to give out a World Cup play, and it's really just a matter of kind of like fading public opinion, I think, with what I'm going to give out. And maybe it's not what you think it is. I don't know. But I'll be back in a second. Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What can this slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm going to burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. All right. Next game is Milwaukee, Arizona, I believe. Is that right? Yeah. All right. This game. So this series, we have the teams have split this series so far, which, by the way, I believe is the case. Yeah, I already mentioned that with Colorado and San Francisco. They split as well. Milwaukee and Arizona here. These teams, like I said, yeah, they've split. I think they'll both show up, try to win the series here. Milwaukee has the better bullpen here. Milwaukee used 2 guys out of the bullpen. Arizona used 4 yesterday, so Milwaukee's more rested. Now, Milwaukee is ranked lesser than Arizona based on whip, but Milwaukee's got the better bullpen ERA by more than half a run. They're ranked 10th, Arizona 7th, but Milwaukee's the better bullpen. Milwaukee's the better offense as well. They're tied in 10th with the White Sox. Arizona 27th. That is not good. The starting pitching matchup, to me, I don't think it's great. Brandon Sproat from Milwaukee. Dude, this guy, I mean, I think he does have talent, but it hasn't really translated totally yet. 5.28 ERA, 1.33 whip. That's not very good. He is better on the road for what that's worth. 4.38 road ERA. He's been pitching a little bit better recently. If you look at what he did in June, he had a low hit rate, 18 hits in 26 innings, 28 strikeouts, 7 walks, had a lot of strikeouts over his last couple starts. He does seem to be kind of turning it around a little bit, and he had to go to the Rockies, to the A's. I mean, he pitched pretty well in both of those games, and that is not an easy task to go pitch in those stadiums. Then he absolutely dominated Cincinnati in Cincinnati, which is still not an easy park to pitch in, although they did get to him a little bit more the last time he pitched against them because he pitched against them twice in a row. Sproat may be turning it around a little bit here. He's got a high strikeout rate, so that does tell you he does have the ability to fool major league hitters. He's got a low hit rate. His problem is the walks, and he's allowed too many home runs as well. But the walks are really the main issue with him, so he's got to turn that around. He has not been good against Arizona so far, though. Only 14 at-bats, not a lot, but 357 average, 1223 OPS, 5-2 strikeout walk ratio. That's not exactly good. So I don't know what to do with Sproat right now, man, because he could be good. It looks like he's starting to turn it around, pitching better. He's in better form right now, but he doesn't have good matchup numbers here. Eduardo Rodriguez is pitching for the Dbacks, and he's got really good numbers this season, but I think he's definitely a regression candidate. We're going to dig into those numbers, the rest of the numbers in a little bit. 2.21 ERA. That's definitely misleadingly low. I will tell you that right now. His ERA is going to go up. 1.18 whip is still not bad, I know. He's been good at home, 1.78 ERA at home. He does look like he's pitching pretty well here, given that he's allowed one or fewer earned runs in all but one start. That was over the course of June. I mean, he did that. Really, he's pitched pretty well pretty much all season as far as not giving up a lot of runs. He's got a low hit rate, but his strikeout rate is very low. So Rodriguez E-Rod, he's a guy that used to strike out more guys than he does now. Like he was really good early in his career, at different points earlier in his career. He's had some surgeries. He's just not really what he once was. His walk rate is still a little bit high here, in my opinion. And, I just think something is going to kind of, I think he's going to regress a bit here. Like his hit rate was still low over the course of June, but his walk rate was way too high, and his strikeout rate was still low. So there were some concerns here. Numbers against Milwaukee are not great. In 89 at bats, 270 average, 779 OPS. So Milwaukee, their bats do get the best of them a bit. 18 to 15 strikeout walk ratio is really not good, although 8 of the walks are Gary Sanchez. But Milwaukee does get to him a decent amount there. So I think this game looks like an over generally as well. The money is agreeing with that. The total's at 9, 55% of tickets, 82% of the cash on the over. I think I agree with that, although both pitchers could do well here. Like, I think there is kind of a wide variance here. Like, this game is pretty unpredictable. Like, I think there's a wide range of possible results here, so I don't like games like that. 60% of tickets, 73% of the cash on Milwaukee at minus 120 something. I don't know what to do with that. The odds makers are telling you Milwaukee's the better team. Yes, they are. They have the better bullpen. The starting pitching matchup is probably a lot closer than the ERAs make it look. So I will say that there isn't that much of a gap between these two starting pitchers. Their ERAs I think are a little bit misleading on both sides. And Milwaukee is the better offense too, like I said. Miami at the A's. Gage Jump is pitching, man. I don't want to jump on him in this one, though. I'm going to stay off of this one, but the A's are trying to avoid getting swept here. So maybe there is something to looking at the A's here. Miami is playing Seattle next, I think. I don't know how big of a deal that is. But, will Miami overlook the A's after winning the first 2 games of the series? Maybe. Miami does have the better bullpen, but they used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. The A's, where are we at? If this would load, come on, man. Wasting my time. Oh, my God. Hopefully my internet is still working. Hopefully you guys can... Am I still live here? Like, what's going on? Yeah, the A's use 3 relief pitchers. All right, whatever. Miami is ranked 2nd in bullpen. I don't think they're quite that good. They're a pretty good bullpen, but they're not that good. The A's, number 24, though. So, yes, obviously Miami is the better bullpen. A's are 9th in offense. Miami is up to 12th. I don't know if Miami's really that good offensively either. This is definitely an offensive stadium, though. But both pitchers in this matchup are pretty good. Yuri Perez is pitching for the Marlins. 4.21 ERA, 1.21 whip. He's not bad. He's still really young, man, even though it feels like he's been in the league for a long time. Because I think he came into the league when he was like 20 or 21. And he's already had Tommy John surgery and stuff. His ERA on the road is not good, though, 5.35. So he pitches a lot better in Miami where it's more pitcher-friendly. He walked 4 guys last time out in Coors Field. It was good that he held the Rockies to 1 earned run, though, in Coors Field, so that was good, but he was wild. After he didn't walk anybody in 3 straight starts, he had some wildness come up in that game. His wildness is his main issue. He's not very hittable. He's got a low hit rate. His strikeout rate is high, so he's got good stuff still, but his walk rate is too high. And as far as this stadium goes, he's allowed a decent amount of home runs. I know he was good in Coors Field. He allowed 1 home run in Coors Field, though, in that start. But he's got a high fly ball rate, dude. So that's not exactly great for pitching in these stadiums like this. The A's stadium, very, very home run friendly as well. His numbers against the A's are good, though. They have a really small sample size. 3 hitters have seen him, 7 at bats. The only hit is a double from Langoliers. 2 strikeouts, 1 walk, 143 average, 536 OPS. So Perez might have a little bit of an extra advantage here. So part of the reason I don't want to jump on Jump is I think Perez might pitch well here because he is pretty good. I know his fly ball rate is a concern, but the A's hitters haven't really seen him, so that might be a little bit of an advantage. Same advantage is going to be the case for Gage Jump. Jump has been good so far, man. You know, I've given out, I think, 3 winners on the show with Jump and maybe 1 push. Like, I've given out plays on most of his starts. I'm not going to do it here, though. 2.93 ERA, 1.13 whip. He's better on the road somehow. Or no, excuse me. He's worse. Yeah, he's worse at home. What am I saying? Yeah, he's at home here. What am I saying? His home stadium's bad. It's the A's stadium. Yes, he's not as good here at home. 4.98 home ERA. So that's a little bit of a concern. Wasn't good last time out here at home against the Dodgers. They just really, really got to him for a lot of hits and a lot of runs, a couple of home runs. His command was still good, though. 5 strikeouts, no walks. And it was the Dodgers. I mean, obviously, Miami is a huge step down offensively from the Dodgers. Jump overall, still good stuff here. 35 hits in 40 innings. Decent hit rate. His walk rate's still pretty low. Strikeout rate is right at 1 per inning. He's not that extreme of a fly ball pitcher. In fact, he's only allowed 2 home runs this entire season, and they were both in that game against the Dodgers. So he hasn't been allowing home runs other than that. So maybe he does have a slight advantage here over Perez. I think maybe a first 5 under makes some sense here in this game because I think this is a pretty good starting pitching matchup. The money's backing the over. The total's 10. 53% of tickets, 86% of the cash on the over. Maybe, I mean, it does make more sense to go over full game, of course, because you get the A's bullpen coming into play and whatever, but I think under first 5 makes some sense, and it's going to be a high number, probably like 5.5. I think, you know, I know it's a very hitter-conducive ballpark, and I really don't jump on unders like that in stadiums like this, but this starting pitching matchup to me looks like it may get there with an under in the first 5. So that's what I'm talking about there. Saab, what's up? What are you talking about? Oh, Hurricane. Yeah, that's right. The Saab, yes. Viagra, that's right. I'll talk about that when I get to it. I forgot about that. Thank you, sir. Kyle, thank you. All right. Toronto and Seattle. We get into some of these night games. These games are on the major networks, too. This game's on NBC Sports. This is an evening game. But really, it's it's an afternoon game still in Seattle, though. So this is still on the afternoon board here. Weird slate, weird scheduling today. But it's Sunday. It's still almost every game's in the afternoon because most of these teams have to start a new series tomorrow. So, or maybe, or the next day after that, I should say. Seattle won the game 11-0 yesterday. So each team has a shutout win in this series. So this is going to be the rubber match of this series. It's a big series, dude. I think it means more to Seattle, as I've been saying, because you remember Toronto beat Seattle in the ALCS last year and eliminated them. So I think winning this series probably means more to Seattle. Seattle only used 1 relief pitcher, and they do have the slightly better bullpen, in my opinion. Toronto used 3. Toronto's bullpen is ranked better at 11th with Seattle at 17th, but I don't think I buy that. Seattle's still the better bullpen ERA, and I think they're still the better bullpen. The offenses haven't been that good. Seattle 25th, Toronto 26th. That's not good. And this is a pitcher-friendly ballpark here, although we did see 11 runs yesterday. The starting pitching matchup here on the surface looks like it should be an under. You have 2 really talented young pitchers going in this game, but their matchup numbers are a little bit questionable here. Trey Savage is pitching for the Blue Jays. He's good. I mean, he's still only 22 years old. 3.34 ERA, 1.1 whip. He's been really good on the road, 2.22 road ERA. So that looks good. Plus, it's a pitcher-friendly park. He's in pretty good form here, although his walk number's been pretty high over the last month, but it was mostly in 2 starts against the Yankees in Houston where he was just out of control in both those starts. And then his last start, he pretty much dominated the Mets. Didn't strike a lot of guys out, but he had no walks in that one, although it is the Mets. But he's got a low hit rate. His walk rate is definitely too high, though. He's got to get his control fixed here. and his strikeout rate is not as high as you would expect, but it is okay. So maybe he's not quite as good as maybe people think that he is right now. And he hasn't been good against Seattle. 23 at-bats. It's not a huge sample. Only 6 of their hitters have faced him. Josh Naylor and Randy Arozarena are the guys that really do the damage against him. 348 average, 923 OPS, 7-3 strikeout walk ratio. Still not good, though. So you Savage, he looks like he should pitch well here, but those matchup numbers do worry me a little bit. Emerson Hancock for Seattle, he's having a good season. 3.47 ERA, 1.05 whip. He's been good at home, 3.38 home ERA in this pitcher-friendly environment. Had a bad home start against the Red Sox recently after a bad road start against Washington, but he's settled back down mostly with a good start on the road at Cleveland last time up. But he did walk 3 guys in that one, which is a little bit concerning. But his walk rate hasn't really been that bad. Over the course of the season, low hit rate, low walk rate, strikeout rate is decent too. So he's got good numbers, and he's got better command than your Savage does. Hancock hasn't been that good against Toronto, though. They have 7 hitters who have faced him, 21 at-bats. It's not a huge sample. Only 1 extra base hit, which is a double from Kirk. 5 strikeouts, 3 walks, 286 average, but the OPS is low because they only have that 1 extra base hit, 708. My first instinct was that this game looks like an under because I think you do have 2 good starters here and 2 pretty capable bullpens. 58% of tickets on the over, 90% of the cash on the over, though. So the money's hitting the over, but the odds makers threw this up here at 7.5, juice to the under. So, the odds makers are pretty much telling you they think it should be a low-scoring game here. So, I don't know. The under still makes some sense to me here. The money is backing Toronto. I don't think I agree. 67% of tickets on Seattle, 68% of the cash on Toronto. Some of it is the price. Seattle at minus 130. I think probably the feeling is, well, you're going to give me a Savage as an underdog, Maybe that's why the money's going in that way. But I think Hancock does have the matchup edge here, as I just showed you the matchup numbers. He's been better with his command, and Seattle, I think, wants the game more because it's still that revenge spot, which I think, revenge is overstated, but when it's the team that eliminated you last year, I think it does matter a little bit more. So I have a slight lean towards Seattle in that game. Probably full game because I do like their bullpen as well. San Diego and the Dodgers, this is one of 2 night, I don't know, this I guess doesn't qualify as a night game. It's on NBC, but this game I think is, it's a late afternoon game because it's in LA, so I think the real night game is still the Red Sox game against Anaheim. Great game there. Dodgers, San Diego. Dodgers are on the verge of a 4-game sweep here, and they're 14 games ahead of Arizona now, and 15 games ahead of San Diego. Dude, I thought San Diego was still in second place here in the NL West. This is getting ridiculous. The Dodgers are going to go into cruise control mode at some point here. They may overlook San Diego here in the last game of the series. I don't know, man. The Dodgers, they're only playing Colorado next, though, so do they really care that much about that? Probably not. They probably focus more on San Diego than on Colorado. But San Diego, you got to think they want this game more. But the Dodgers are a massive favorite here. The Dodgers pretty much have the edge everywhere in this game. Well, except for the bullpen, I guess. But the bullpens are close. Dodgers used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. San Diego also did. Dodgers are ranked better in the bullpen, and their bullpen ERA is actually a little bit better at 5th. San Diego 13th, but I still think San Diego's bullpen is the better one, but they do have to contend with the Dodgers' elite number 1 offense, and San Diego is now dead last again, or tied at 29th with the Mets. Starting pitching does not do San Diego any favors. They're going with J.P. Sears. Is he really the guy you want? Is he really the stopper to try to end this losing streak and try to help you salvage a game in this series? This does not look good to me. 6.97 ERA, 1.74 whip. I don't think he's that bad. He's only made 2 starts for San Diego so far this year, but 11.57 road ERA. Obviously, it's going to make sense that he's going to pitch better in San Diego because they're a more pitcher-friendly park. And he was okay in San Diego against the Braves. He was awful last time out at Wrigley. his overall numbers are not good, dude. High hit rate, high walk rate, strikeout rate, fine. But, I mean, this is just not good stuff. Numbers against the Dodgers, not good. In 45 at-bats, 356 average allowed, 1,040 OPS, 5.2 strikeout walk ratio. None of that is good. He's going up against Emmett Sheehan, who is the better pitcher here. Although Sheehan has had some struggles recently. He definitely is talented, though. He's better than Sears. 5.08 ERA, 1.27 whip. That whip indicates that his ERA should be lower than it is. He's kind of struggled, though, man. He's basically the same home and away, very similar in the splits there. Now, he did bounce back with a good start last time out against, against San Diego, on the road at San Diego. An easy matchup, probably, though, facing a weak offense on the road in a very pitcher-friendly park. He pitched at San Diego back in May as well, and he actually wasn't good in that start. So do what you want with that information, but he's not all good against San Diego. His overall numbers definitely suggest that he's better than his ERA, though. He's got a reasonably low hit rate. His walk rate isn't very high. Strikeout rate is pretty high. He's given up a lot of home runs, and I think that's really what's kind of screwed his ERA, is that his home run rate is too high. So he's got to figure that out. His overall numbers against San Diego are not the best. In 41 at-bats, 244 average allowed is pretty good, but an 808 OPS is not good. So they have hit him for some power here, although Machado has 2 of the 3 home runs against him, 10 strikeouts, 3 walks. What do we do with this game? I mean, I'm leaving it alone, obviously, but the Dodgers are a massive favorite. And, I don't know. I mean, this is pushing it a little bit at minus 210. I mean, yeah, I think the Dodgers match up. They have the matchup edges here, but, maybe not in the bullpen, like I said, but that might not even matter if the starting pitching goes wrong for San Diego here. But minus 210, I don't think you can lay that with the Dodgers. The money is actually playing San Diego. 86% of tickets on the Dodgers, 64% of the cash on San Diego. You could take a San Diego run line and hope they stay in this game. I wouldn't want to do that. I think they have too many matchup disadvantages for me here. I mean, I know they have the situational edge, like the motivational edge. I don't know if that's enough. I am a situational guy, but in baseball, the matchups do matter. An over maybe makes sense here. I mean, the total's pretty high at 9.5. 63% of tickets, 92% of the cash on the over. Neither pitcher has particularly good matchup numbers, so maybe that is the better way to look at this, is just go over the team total. Or, Dodgers team total over makes some sense for them to just, get some runs off of Sears here. Dodgers, you're probably looking at needing them to score like 6 runs here, though. That's maybe pushing it a bit. All right, and then the last game is the night game. The Red Sox have to play 2 straight Sunday night games, which really, really sucks. I don't even know who they play next. I don't even know. I think they might be returning home, and they don't play tomorrow, so I don't know, man. Red Sox are probably not going to be in a good spot when they return home. They should have a matchup advantage here with the starting pitching, but the Red Sox are laying a pretty big price here. Odds makers are telling you, man. They're telling you that the Red Sox are better than their record looks, and they have a decent pitcher on the mound here, and they're telling you that Anaheim is just not that good. Red Sox used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. They do have the better bullpen. Anaheim used 4, which is not great. Red Sox are ranked 6th in bullpen. They got one of the better bullpen ERAs here. Anaheim is 23rd. That is not good. I think I might have said the Dodgers by accident. Stop being the LA Angels of Anaheim, man. You're the Anaheim Angels, all right? But yeah, Anaheim's bullpen is not good. Offensively, Anaheim's a little bit better at 21st. Red Sox, 24th. Red Sox offense, has had some signs of life recently, though. And over the course of the season, they've been better on the road. Red Sox are going with Ronyer Suarez on the mound here. He's having a good season. 2.94 ERA, 1.13 whip. Another good pick, dude, between him and Sonny Gray, who was good again yesterday. 2 good offseason pickups, man, which is why I thought the Red Sox would be good this year. I mean, their starting pitching rotation has been good. That's how pathetic their offense is, and maybe they're like fundamentals, because, dude, they have one of the best starting pitching rotations in baseball. Like, it's still a good rotation with Crochet not even in there, and yet they can't win games. I mean, It's ridiculous. Suarez, really good on the road, by the way. 2.12 road ERA. Red Sox, their pitching rotation, by the way, is just stacked with lefties, too. I think Gray is the only righty in the rotation at this point. Suarez has been good recently. His strikeout rate's gone up recently, too. He had a really good month of June. High strikeout rate, low walk rate, pretty low hit rate. Over the course of the season, those numbers have pretty much been there as well. Low hit rate, reasonably low walk rate, high strikeout rate, all pretty good here. Has good numbers against Anaheim as well. In 35 at-bats, 229 average, 708 OPS, 9-4 strikeout walk ratio. So Suarez looks like he has a pretty good matchup here. He's going up against Ryan Johnson. Obviously, Suarez, he's the better starting pitcher here. Johnson is like a huge question mark, though. Like, Johnson has shown signs that he is a lot better than his numbers suggest. I mean, his numbers look awful, obviously. 7.4 ERA, 1.52 whip, but he's really young, 23. He's a really, really big right-hander here. Well, I guess he's not, like, he doesn't weigh that much, but he is really tall. Not Randy Johnson, he's not as tall as Randy Johnson. He's not a lefty, but Johnson, I mean, there are some things to actually like when you start looking at his numbers, even though he hasn't been good yet. Mostly 6.55 home ERA. It's bad, but he is still way better at home than he is on the road. It's a small sample size, but his opponent batting average is way lower at home at 220. So he actually has been better at home, and he's been really good in his last two starts against Baltimore and against Seattle. 11 strikeouts, 1 walk in those 11 innings with 5 hits allowed and 1 earned run allowed. That's pretty good. So Johnson, dude, he seems to be figuring something out. So I don't think he is what his numbers tell you he is. Over the course of the season so far, his hit rate is too high. His walk rate is too high. His strikeout rate is not that high. But again, he seems to be figuring some stuff out here. So I don't know what we're going to get out of him, but I do think that he is more talented than his numbers make him look. The Red Sox have never faced him before, so they might actually struggle against Johnson because he has the unfamiliarity edge here. So this game might be, a little bit closer in the starting pitching than people think that it will be. I know the money is actually backing Anaheim here when I saw it earlier. Red Sox are a pretty heavy favorite, though. They're at minus like 160. The money is definitely fading them. 90% of tickets on the Red Sox. Of course, Anaheim is also trying to avoid a sweep, remember. So Anaheim is one of those home teams in that spot where they're trying to avoid a sweep. And the Red Sox, when they return home, they're going to play they're going to the White Sox next, excuse me. So they may look ahead to that. I mean, the White Sox have been a decent team this year. Red Sox maybe get distracted. Maybe they pack it in early. Maybe they think it's going to be easy. I don't really want to fade Suarez, though, but Red Sox minus 160 something here. I mean, that price, you could consider that price to be a little too high. Johnson maybe still being overlooked here potentially. 90% of tickets, 65% of the cash on the Red Sox. So public on the Red Sox, way less than the money on it. The money is also playing the over. 58% of tickets, 90% of the cash on the over 8. I don't really think so. I mean, I could see the argument for a first 5 under here. You got Suarez, where we know that he's good and he has good matchup numbers. Johnson is at least unfamiliar and is pitching a lot better over his last couple of starts. I could see this being low scoring early in the game, man. So maybe a first 5 under makes some sense. And if you're going to play Anaheim, I would still limit it to the first 5 as well because their bullpen is just too bad. But Suarez may still be the better starter here. And the Red Sox do have a bullpen advantage, so I don't really want to play Anaheim there, even though they may have a situational advantage there. All right. So I just have the 2 plays in baseball. Let's go to WNBA. There are 2 games, one in the afternoon, which is Dallas and Toronto. Now, Dallas, I think this will be the first time they're playing in Toronto, so they may be at a little bit of a situational disadvantage because they're going to have to go through customs here. Toronto has not played since before the Commissioner's Cup break, so they've been off for more than a week, but they did lose their last game at home, so they haven't even traveled, so they're staying at home. Could be a good spot for them potentially. Some teams will, the break is basically a momentum stopper, so in my opinion, whatever you were doing going into the break, that gets ended by the break. So the fact that Toronto went into the break on a bad note, losing at home, I think that means they're going to come out with some focus here and actually like play better here. They get a good team in Dallas coming into their place. Dallas is going to be a little bit unfamiliar with this road venue here and going through customs and whatever to get there. So a different spot for Dallas. However, Dallas has some advantages in my opinion too, because they did play already out of the commissioner's break on Thursday. They're not going to be they're not going to be overworked or anything. Like they're not, unrested because they did have a break prior to that game and they didn't play well. They barely beat Connecticut. So I think Dallas might show up after a bad performance against the worst team in the league. They might show up with a better effort. However, they do have a huge game against New York next on ESPN, so Dallas might look ahead to that. So I would have a slight lean towards Toronto here. I'm not going to play the game, but that would be my slight opinion here. Dallas is public, 83% of tickets, 88% of the cash on them. They're laying 5.5. But I think I would lean towards taking the points with Toronto. Although the money looks like it's slightly on Dallas, but they are public. The total here is also ridiculously high. The money has slammed the over. The total opened at 181.5, and I think the highest total we've seen all season is like 182. This total's all the way up to 184.5 now. So the money has really, really blasted the over already. So there is a strong professional opinion, it looks like to me, on the over here. And I think it makes some sense. I think you're looking at two pretty bad defenses here. So it makes some sense, maybe the over there. But you've lost value. Like, you really needed to get to that when it was at 181, 182. Now that it's at 184, I think you've lost too much value on it. Or 185 and a half at some of these books. Yeah, so, I mean, I might lean over there just because of what I see in the market. The fact that the total is that high, but I'm staying away. The other game, the night game on ESPN and Disney Plus between Indiana and Vegas, this has a really high total at 181.5, and that seems a little crazy to me because both of these teams are actually going to be without their best player. Caitlin Clark is still out. I thought she might be back, but she's not. Las Vegas is without Asia Wilson still. So they're not playing in this game. So great ESPN game where the one draw of this game would have been that you get to see two of the best players in the league, and they're both not playing, so that's great. Vegas is the better team, although the odds makers are kind of telling you they don't really have a significant advantage here, especially with their big woman, Wilson, out. She dominates on the interior, so that is a big blow to Vegas without her. Now, Vegas did just win against Chicago in that game where I give out a play on the show, but I tracked it as a no play just because I said wait to see if you can get this, still get either a 7.5 or maybe a 10.5 if Wilson was coming back. It didn't happen, and the number tanked to 4.5, and there's no way I would have recommended it 4.5. However, that was this game against Chicago. Chicago should have covered, dude. I mean, they took the game into overtime. They had the lead in the fourth quarter. Very, very irritating. If you had Chicago plus 7.5 or something in that game, you got absolutely screwed. You took a ridiculously bad beat, losing by 8 in overtime on a final foul with 11 seconds left. Just ridiculous. Vegas is coming off that game. I think they will be focused here. They're staying at home. By the way, I forgot to mention, these games are not in their home arena. They're still in Las Vegas, so they're playing at the T-Mobile Arena instead of their home arena, which is the Michelob Ultra Arena. I don't know, man. I don't know which is which in Vegas. I mean, I think both of these get used for different college basketball, conference tournaments and stuff. I don't know how much that matters. Vegas has not been particularly good at home, though. They are 6-3 at home now. They were 5-3 before that other game. Indiana, not particularly good on the road. The Indiana's record isn't really that good right now, but Caitlin Clark is always hurt and getting beat up by players, on the court. It's a bad situation, man. Like, these players are just physically beating her up. I don't know. But the spot looks okay to me for Vegas because I thought the bad spot was that last game against Chicago. They got a scare against Chicago, so you got to think Vegas is going to show up. Even if Clark isn't there, Vegas is going to try to win this game. They only play Portland next, which is not a big deal. Vegas, coming off a bad performance really against Chicago. Indiana's coming off a good-looking game where they scored 111 points against LA, and that was before the break. So I think Vegas is at a little bit of an extra advantage because they played after the break. And in this case, I actually like that because Vegas, they've also already played in this arena. You know what I mean? And this is an arena that they usually don't play in. So Vegas was able to already adjust to this arena. Indiana's having to come into this cold, and they haven't played since last Saturday. And they won. Like I said, they put up a huge amount of points against LA. LA is a terrible defensive team. And I talked about that back when I handicapped that. I liked Indiana to cover in that game, and they did. Vegas is not going to allow that many points. I'll tell you that right now. I know this is a really high total, but Indiana's not scoring 111 in this one, man. And they might be a little bit slow to start, and Clark is out, I know Clark was out for that game against LA too, but Vegas is way better defensively than LA, even with Wilson not in there. Yeah, I mean, I think Indiana might start a little bit cold. I think the fact that they went into that long break on a good note, it's not going to be a good thing coming into this one. That was the injured player theory spot, by the way, because Clark got injured in that game against Phoenix. That was the game where they put the arm, like where they shoved her neck and whatever. Alyssa, whatever her name is. I keep getting her last name wrong. Whatever. So Indiana had an advantage in that game against LA and that they were in the injured player spot. So you knew they were going to step up their game with Clark out. But a lot of times the second game after that, they won't do as well. And for Vegas, it's going to be their third game without Wilson. And while I know Vegas, you could argue they don't have a rest advantage here because Vegas has played 2 games since the last time Indiana played because Vegas played the Commissioner Cup game. They were all the way on the East Coast. They had to put in a big effort there, I know. But I still think that Vegas having that momentum kind of carried through and the fact they played at home, I think that's actually going to help them more. So I actually like Vegas in this game. I don't know what the money is doing here. The money's backing Indiana. I don't really like that. Vegas is laying 3. Basically, or 3.5. I think Vegas, they can get the job done here. Both teams without their top player. Indiana, 59% of tickets, 85% of the cash on them, though. I don't like that market read on Indiana, so I kind of disagree with both market reads here. I like Vegas at home here. Money is also slightly backing this ridiculous over at 181.5. The other one's more ridiculous, but this one is also really high. So odds makers telling you that they think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm not so sure about that. I mean, maybe people are overreacting to the fact that both star players are out here, Wilson and Clark. But the scoring is going to come from somewhere, so maybe the game will still be higher scoring. But I don't know, man. I mean, that total does, to me, look too high given what's going on there. All right, World Cup. I'm going to give out a play in the first game here. Both games on Fox 1, Telemundo. First game is Brazil and Norway. Both teams, I think, are coming in from Texas, I believe. So they both have a similar travel spot, playing in East Rutherford in the New York area for this one. To me, there's one thing that I really see going on in this game. And basically what's going on is everybody's talking about how Argentina wants England to beat Mexico because they want England to knock out Brazil. Like, that's what everybody's talking about. And I'm like, so everybody's just assuming that Brazil is going to even be in that game. Everybody's just giving Brazil this game automatically, basically. And, if you saw my bracket, I actually took Norway in this game, and then I took England over Norway in the ensuing match. I think it's kind of ridiculous that everybody's just assuming Brazil. People think Brazil is like better than England, and I don't think they are. And I'm going to talk about the England match in a bit, and I know they're not really much of a favorite in that one, but the reason is where they're playing the game, which I wasn't really aware of when I filled out my bracket with England as my, value champion. England is going to have a tough time today, but I'm talking about Brazil-Norway. I'm going to give out Norway either win, draw, or plus to have goal. And remember, this is only in the first 90 minutes. I'm going to take Norway to be close with Brazil through that stretch of the game, man. I like it. I think everybody's just handing Brazil this game because Brazil, they're considered to be, like this elite. I mean, they are. I mean, they have the most World Cup championships. They're an elite soccer country, but this version of their team is not the greatest. As we saw, the odds for Brazil to win the whole thing were only like 17 or 18 to 1 at the start of the World Cup. Like, they only had the 7th or 8th best odds. So this is not a dominant Brazil team here. And Norway is the more battle-tested team so far in this thing. So that's what I'm going with here. I think everybody's just overlooking Norway. I did look at Action Network, and Brazil is a public side. Brazil's minus 125 on the three-way here, so we're taking the other side of that. So you're either going to find a win draw or the plus half goal. It's basically the same thing. Whichever market gives you the better number, I would say just do that. I saw the plus 105. So what else was I going to say here? According to Action Network, the public is taking Brazil, and there's a slight cash disparity leaning towards Norway. So Norway seems like it's kind of the more sharp, or not really sharp side, but professional side here. Now, if you look at Brazil, they really have not been that impressive in the World Cup. The best team they played was Morocco. And I know Morocco's still in, but, I mean, dude, Morocco, they pulled off one big upset, basically, and then they beat Canada yesterday. And it was misleading. If you look, they won 3-0, but if you look at the stats in that Morocco game yesterday, it should have been like a 1-0 Morocco win, basically. Like, they did not put up that much offense. So, I don't know, man. Brazil drawing with Morocco doesn't really look good to me. And then Brazil beat Haiti and Scotland. Okay. I'm telling you, man, Brazil's not very battle-tested. Norway is going to be the best team they've faced so far in the World Cup. They beat Japan in the knockout round. Japan's a competitive team, no doubt about that. But I still think Norway is better than Japan. Again, I'm not very impressed with Brazil's run so far. Norway is more impressive, even though I know Norway, when they played France, they just benched everybody. But they lost the game, of course. But Norway didn't play their starters. But I'm more impressed by Norway. Still, Norway, they beat Iraq. Nobody cares about that. But they beat Senegal, who is definitely a competitive team. And they beat Ivory Coast in their first knockout game, which is that's pretty impressive to me. Ivory Coast, pretty strong. So Norway, dude, they look good, and they have a lot of offense. I think Brazil may have some issues here slowing Norway's offense down, man. Norway's a really good offense. You've seen Brazil holding all these teams to a low-scoring game here, and I think you could play Norway over their team total in this game, too, if you want to do that. Brazil's played all these low-scoring games here, but none of these offenses, of course, especially not Haiti, Scotland, even Japan, Morocco, none of those offenses are as good as Norway with Holland and Nusa and Udegaard, all those guys there. This is a really strong Norway offense, dude. So Norway, they're not that much worse than Brazil. I know Brazil is still the better team, but I think Norway has a decent shot here, and I did take them to advance in my bracket. It would not be that big of an upset if they did that, even though it would be an upset. But yeah, I'm going to take Norway, man. I think they're the more battle-tested team, and I think they're being overlooked here. So that's what I'm doing. The other match, I was all ready to play England, dude. England's plus 140 on the three-way line, so it looks like there may be some value there, but it also gives me pause because why is England not that heavily favored? Like, England is definitely better than Mexico. The problem is this game is in Mexico City. That's the main reason why England's not a heavier favorite here. If this game was on a neutral site, I'm almost certain that England would be like minus 170. Like, I think that's how big the home advantage is here. So I would not overlook that. Like, it's going to be an insane crowd here, and that's why I can't do it, because you know that we just saw England look very unimpressive against DR Congo. DR Congo was winning that game 1-0 for a while, and England, Harry Kane scored 2 goals, and they barely got by. But if you look at this game, England dominated this game. So as soon as I saw this game, I was ready to jump on England in their next game. You know what I mean? Because this was misleading, dude. England didn't play well as a huge favorite. So everybody's going to think that England sucks, right? And they definitely do not. And you look at this game, the expected goals and whatever. England expected that they won this game 2.16 to 0.77. So this game, yeah, which does, I know if you round it, it is 2-1. But everybody, it felt like this game where it felt like it was this competitive game, but I just didn't really think that it really was. England, just wasn't really getting the breaks there. England still won this game. I know the possession wasn't that dominant for England. They're not really the greatest offensive team, but their defense is really good. And once Congo put in that kind of fluke goal early, they never scored again, and I didn't really think they would. Like, as soon as Congo scored that goal, my immediate thought was England is still going to win this game 2-1. Like, that's what I was thinking. Or it's going to be 1-1 and they're going to win in, like, extra time or something. I thought Congo was not going to score again, and I was right. England's a good defense, dude. That was a misleading game, so I do still like England in this game, but I am a little bit worried because they do have to travel to Mexico for this, and Mexico isn't even traveling. Mexico is just staying in Mexico, so that is a big advantage to them, but I will say, Mexico, they just beat Ecuador. I almost gave up Mexico as a play there. I'm pissed that I didn't because Mexico was good in that game. Things got a little bit feisty at the end. Ecuador got a red card in extra time there when the game was already over. If you look at what happened in this game, though, it wasn't domination by Mexico. Expected goals 1.05 to 0.75. Ecuador won the possession battle, 57% to 43%. They just didn't really get any chances, but Mexico really wasn't putting up a lot of offense, dude. Mexico only 3 shots on goal, 2 big chances. That's not great. So there wasn't really a lot of offense here. Mexico really didn't dominate this game. So, yeah, dude, I think both matchups that these teams had were kind of misleading. Like, Mexico looks really good. Mexico hasn't allowed a goal yet in World Cup play, which is pretty insane. But again, they played some bad teams in here. Ecuador was the best team they played so far. And, of course, England is obviously going to be the best team they've played so far. And England is more battle-tested. England, they did play Croatia in there. They played Ghana, so they're a little bit more battle-tested here. It's not going to be easy. Mexico, in Mexico, it's going to be really difficult. I can tell you that the money was actually strongly backing Mexico. I can tell you that the public actually looked like it was leaning towards England on Action Network, but I like England in this game. My only issue with it is the location. If this game was anywhere else, I would give out England as a play of some kind, but you would have to lay more of a favorite price. However, maybe there is value, dude. It's just that, dude, home advantage in soccer is just so massive. I'm pretty sure the little that I know about soccer tells me that, based on watching, the Norway documentary that's out there on ESPN, talking about how ridiculous it was that they won that qualifying match in Italy, where Italy never loses in Italy, in international play, you know what I mean? Yeah, I think playing at home is really, really a huge advantage, but England is still the better team and slightly favored. If I was going to play this game, I would just grab England at plus 140 on the 3-way line. I think that's what I would do. Or actually, hold on. What's England to advance? Let me see. Maybe that's actually the better way. I'm going to look right now. England to advance, you're probably actually looking at a decent line on this. Yeah, that's what I would do. England is only minus 125 to advance. Brazil, by the way, is minus 255. But yeah, England at minus 125 to advance. That's the way I would play this. Yeah, probably. I wouldn't disagree with taking them plus 140 on the 3-way, to win. But it seems a little dicey, honestly, to win in regulation. This could be a low-scoring game. Both of these teams have played good defense throughout the World Cup. They're both good defensive teams, for sure. So I see this being a defensive game. Under probably makes sense in this game, too, to go under the 2.5 in the first 90 minutes. I could see this being like a 1-1 game, But, yeah, England to advance at minus 125, I think, does make some sense to me. So that's going to do it, though, for my plays. No. What are you talking? My World Cup record is 6-3, bro. I started out 5-1 in the World Cup. I'm 6-3. So yeah, don't bullshit me, Gerald. 6-3, pretty good when it's not a sport I know much about. We're gonna finish with a winning World Cup season, man. Unless something goes wrong. We got to get this win today. But even if I lose this one today, I'm still above 500. Plays today one more time. Very short card here. Mets minus 105 or minus 109 on the first 5. Mets money line first 5. Under full game Tigers Rangers, and we're taking Norway either win draw or plus the half goal. I think Brazil is overrated, right? I think everybody's just overlooking. I know everybody's talking about Holland, but it seems like everybody's just expecting Brazil to win because just everybody's talking about Argentina wants England to win so that they can beat Brazil. That's all everybody's talking about here. So it's like everybody's assuming Brazil is going to beat Norway. And I know they're favored to do so. But, I'm going to take Norway to hang around in that one. And I did take them to advance in my bracket, although I went against what, the odds say in that one, of course. But I had to differentiate my bracket a little bit there. And maybe I was a little bit biased because I still like Holland. I mean, he's like a lumberjack, too. Like, I think he just, cuts trees just for the hell of it and drinks raw milk. And Norway brought raw milk to the U.S. Hey, man, it's illegal. The U.S. is not going to stop them from doing that. It's based, really. Norway is a pretty based team, man. But anyway, the other stupid thing about that, though, is that, if England gets by this Mexico match, which is going to be difficult because it's in Mexico. But if they do, if you're Argentina, you should want to play Brazil instead of England because Brazil is not as good as England, dude. So that's the other stupid thing about the Argentinian fans here. They think Brazil is better than England, and based on the what the odds makers are putting out there, I don't think that's the case. I think if it comes down to an England-Brazil match, I think England is going to be favored in that match, on a neutral. So, and if it comes down to, that should mean that if you're Argentina, you should want to play Brazil and not England, even though I know you're scared because the reason why Argentina wants Brazil out is because they hate Brazil. That's their biggest rival, if people don't know that. I think it's the biggest rivalry in international soccer is Brazil-Argentina because they're the two teams that they're like, 2 of the top 3 in World Cup wins, or maybe the top 2, whatever. Or I think it's 2 out of the top 3. I think Germany has the second most, and Argentina has the third most, something like that. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, if I was Argentina, they just don't know which team is the better team. But I would rather play Brazil than England. I think England is actually better. And people don't think that because England plays like a defensive style. Anyway, that's going to do it. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Learn to Toad on Instagram. Follow me everywhere. Subscribe to the channel here. Get up to 500, man. Let's do this. Listen on audio, Apple, Spotify, Spreaker. Covered in Uke on YouTube. My voice, I got to get it back. So I probably got to stop doing this show. Dude, I got to stop, yelling into the mic. I don't know, dude. I'm a loud talker. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. Maybe I should put my headphones back on, and maybe that'll help me limit my voice a little bit because I could, put my monitor up and hear myself here. I don't know. I got to figure out something. But I don't like wearing the headphones because my head gets really hot. It's like wearing earmuffs, man, in the summer in 100-degree heat up here in Boston. I don't want to do that. Although I have air conditioning. This isn't Europe, so I have central air here, baby. What else do I have to promote? Oh, yeah, patreon.com/learntotoad. Check out my Patreon. I know I haven't been able to do the uke stuff because of my voice, except for stuff that doesn't pressure my voice. I can't do anything even remotely high right now, though, vocally. What else do I have to say? I don't know. I'm all over the place this morning. Losercast Tuesday, and I will be on Here's the Thing, I think is what it's called. The Pick is In podcast, guys. I guess do another show. That'll be tonight. I think we're going to record it tonight, but I think it might be uploaded tomorrow or something. So keep on the lookout for that. I'll be on that show. The New York Giants G-Spot podcast should be back at some point. That's going to do it. Yes, sir. Don't undersell my record, man. I've been better in the World Cup than baseball since the World Cup started. World Cup has been better for me than most other things. Actually, yeah. Since World Cup started, it's been my best sport. Neymar is also back for Brazil. I know. I don't know. I think he's got some issues, man. And Brazil's core is kind of young. and an experience. I don't know, man. Although Norway doesn't really have much World Cup experience, though. But I don't know. Norway also, if you look at their run to qualify for the World Cup, Norway was really good in international play to qualify, where I know they didn't face too many good teams there, but they did beat Italy twice, including in Italy. And I know Italy didn't qualify for the World Cup, but they were ranked 12th in the world. They're not like one of the best Italy teams that they've ever had, but that was still a strong Italy team. So yeah, I mean, and some of the other games, like Norway was dominating teams in the qualifying matches. Like they're playing some bad teams in there, like Israel and I don't know, some of these other really lowly teams, but they were just crushing those teams. So, you know, I don't know. We'll see. That's going to do it. Peace.
But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now.